Good late afternoon, early evening. It's 6 o'clock on Thursday, the 25th of June, nearly July, a week and a bit away from the all day 5th of July, which I need to get more behind because I've still got spaces. Anyway, I will. Been busy, very busy with work, so I'll hopefully finish that tomorrow and have the next week to push that Sunday, which is the all day book festival. So Beth and our regular Beth, BB Elson and I are here this evening in very hot rooms. So I will be fanning myself. Very hot rooms talking about spammers and scammers, which get us, pardon the pun, hot under the collar and everywhere else because they are prolific. We were talking before I hit record that I've had four in today, one at 12:59, 14:27, 14:29 and 15:47. So nothing for the last couple of hours. And overnight, because they're usually from elsewhere other than the UK, I usually wake up to two or three. And I have a very sarcastic reply. So we will come to that. But Beth I'm going to hand over to Beth because there's something that she's experienced that I haven't as yet, although I do have a podcast on Spotify, I haven't experienced yet. So do you remember, Beth, where you first noticed that it was becoming an issue? Spammers and ultimately, therefore, scammers are now targeting, prolifically targeting authors.
Well, it's been a problem for some time. I think it's partly a problem because we are told as new authors, oh, you must engage with bookstagrammers and booktokers. The truth is, though, there's so many in social media accounts which are just robots. There's quite a scamming industry behind it. Um, so I think we all get a lot of incoming offers which sound too good to be true, and that's because they are. Even if you engage with them, they will eventually ask you for money. And it's even been on Radio 4 that these things are happening to authors, and some people unfortunately have lost thousands of pounds. Um, Most of them are marketing scams, and we can talk about those, the book clubs, book reviews, even impersonating professional bodies, famous authors, as well as claiming to be influencers and uh, yeah, that is on top of, I think, a residue of publishing scams, in that there are still certain organizations out there that, even before you get to the marketing stage, will take your money to publish a book and then not publish it. But there's some rather interesting ones, which the Society of Authors and the Authors Guild have picked up. They have talked about authors' names being used to sell scam books on Amazon. Now, I haven't experienced that. The people who have say that Kindle are pretty quick to deal with it. But I did have a really weird experience with Spotify. Now, it was just a random checking of where my book was appearing with Waterstones, and this was Coffee and Commute.
Right, your collection.
Yeah, it's just checking, is it there on Waterstones, is it there on Barnes and Noble, etc., etc. And I noticed that quite high up in the list was Spotify, Coffee and Commute, BBLSIN, audiobook. And I thought, well, what a cheat. That is not authorized at all.
Wow.
So I went to investigate, and I thought, well, this is definitely my book.
Right.
But what on earth is this all about? I was a bit scared of clicking on it, so I contacted my publisher and he did, and he said, well, it doesn't take you through to an audiobook, it takes you through to a lot of scam websites, and all of them kind of causing his security system to have kittens. Um, so I thought, oh well, this is very embarrassing. I'll have to get Spotify to take this down.
Mm.
Well, that's easier said than done. To find out how to contact Spotify, how to report a scam on their platform is not easy. And the only way I managed to find how to contact them and make them aware of this was via the Society of Authors. I know you're a member as well, and at
Yeah.
that time I wasn't a member, but they were so helpful. I decided to join. I thought this
Okay.
would be a good place to be.
Yeah.
Um, and so once notified to absolutely the correct email address,
Mm.
they took it down within a couple of days.
Right.
Um, but I just thought, that was just so random that I picked it up. Um, and I mean, I'm not a big name author, but even so, I felt so horrified that
Yes.
my work was being used for a bad thing.
Yes.
Um,
Especially not leading. It's different because I've never clicked. I have Google alerts for both spellings, Morgan Bailey and Morgan
mm,
Bailey, for both spellings, and so every now and then I'll get notified of a plagiarism site um, where they've supposedly giving my books, some of my books away. It's not all of them. Some of my books away for free if you click on a link to download the book. But of course, clicking on links can download all sorts of nasty things. And I kind
exactly.
of think, well, if it looks like it's not a regular book site and
Mm,
somebody's trying to get a book from a dodgy looking site for free, then it's kind of, well, if you're not spending the money, then I wouldn't say you deserve what you get, but you should be careful that what
mhm,
you're getting is because obviously um, KDP Select, you can put your books for free 5 days over every 90 days. And so, but that's Amazon. You'd get that from Amazon's website, not from
mm,
some random thing .in or
yeah.
co or something that isn't obviously a genuine site.
But
Um,
I mean, there are also pirated book sites. Ironically, AI, famous for having breached copyright by taking thousands of books
mm,
to teach its engines.
yes.
Apparently, a lot of the books taken were from pirated sites.
They were. That's what Meta was doing. One of mine, after Jessica, the top one there, that was I did a search because I think it was an American newspaper that found out about it.
Hmm.
And yes, Meta, Facebook, went to piracy websites to get free books to train their AI. So the Society of Authors is launching a campaign. So they wanted to know who'd been affected. And so I said, well, that's one of mine.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I mean, if you get a sale from it, that's one thing. But if it's used to train, I mean, yes, we need AI to a certain extent. It's really useful having lots of information at our fingertips. But I'm now seeing because I did a search for social media scheduling software. So once you look for that, then of course your Google is linked to your Gmail is linked to your Facebook is linked to everything else, and Facebook especially because you often use Facebook to log in to other sites, and so everything's connected. And we joke, Tim and I joke that we've talked about something, And next thing you know, you go on, do a Google search, and there's an advert for the thing we talked about. We didn't even search for.
That's because
Um,
Alexa listens.
exactly. And
I
so
know
now
she
every other advert is for video AI to create these sort of a bit like Morph. I don't know if you remember Morph, but all these sort of um, Aardman, Wallace and Gromit type videos
does.
done by AI, and you only pay. And a lot of the you pay for lifetime is now going to subscription, and I think people aren't they don't want to subscribe to things when
Hmm.
if you've got 10 different ways of doing the same thing, they'll go for the one that costs $20 for lifetime. And so now they're kind of getting sneaky. We've gone off a bit topic a bit, but they're now doing, yes, it's $20 lifetime for the basic, and then you can upgrade for these various levels, or you get a certain amount of credits at that lifetime. Um, and so I have gone to, I can't remember which one it is now. I think it's Content 360, where you can upload, you can connect it to all your sites and schedule posts ahead, and then I can do it can do all the promotion for me without me physically having to do anything than load up, say, a dozen different posts and tell it to go, and say don't do it too often because otherwise I'll get in Facebook sin bin. But they are taking over these people who say that they'll do it for you at a even if it's a low cost to them. If you can get something for free or next to nothing, then why would you employ somebody that you don't know? Even on Fiverr, they're getting different rates. If Fiverr doesn't get you very far, you'd have to then upgrade to something and so on and so forth. Um, but there are so many. I feel sorry for anybody who's genuinely good at what they do and offering a service that now when they email people, and my email address is everywhere, that they email me saying I provide this service and they are genuine, because I just go, no, because most of them aren't. If it's a Gmail address, no offense, Gmail, but if it's a Gmail address, the chances are it's not going to be legitimate.
Mm.
If it's a authorhelp.com, then there's more of a chance that it's genuine.
Mm.
Uh, but yeah,
Yes, I
it's not great.
it, sometimes you get some pretty good disguises. I got one purporting to be from HarperCollins, and the name they'd used was actually somebody who worked at HarperCollins, because, of course, what's the first thing you do when you receive these?
Exactly.
You think, okay, I'll Google this person. Um, Now, I dug a bit deeper, and this person was an editor at HarperCollins, but not even in a fiction genre.
Right.
She did textbooks. Um, and I thought, yes, I mean, I suppose we all have an ego about our writing, and for a moment, you want to believe that HarperCollins have found your book and like it and want to develop it.
Mm.
Um, and uh, so, and then you have to become a private detective to unpick the way
Exactly.
in which
Yes.
you're being taken for a ride.
And I had one the other day, possibly from the same person. I think that was HarperCollins, and she had the picture of the real woman and the footer and everything. And when I sent my generic email, she said, well, in fact, I tailored it. I don't think I did send that one because she said she covered nonfiction, but she was interested in one of my novels. And I said, well, you're clearly not the right person, because you do nonfiction and you say on your email you do nonfiction. And then she emailed me back, and I said, I think I tweaked because I do say if you are who you say you are, prove it. Otherwise, go get an honest job. And she emailed back and she said, "Oh yes, this is the letter." And I say, who would if you don't include a link to a genuine site, then why not? If you do have a a dubious link, who would click on it anyway? So really, they can't win.
Mm.
And so she was then trying to persuade me. She took up my challenge. I think she's the only one to do so far, to try to prove to me that she was the genuine person. But all she was doing was directing me to the website, where she'd taken her picture, she or he, it had taken the picture and the details, but still from a Gmail random, the first name, surname with an extra 1 or 17 or something at gmail.com. And I just ignored it thereafter.
This one did actually have HarperCollins in the domain name.
Right.
It wasn't a .co.uk or
No,
.com.
no. Because
But there
sometimes,
you go. The other thing, of course, is the email from a famous author. I've also had that
yes.
in the fantasy genre as well, which
Okay.
clever. So I looked her up, and an American author, a very prolific one, more romantasy than my sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and all credit to her PR department. When I emailed saying, by the way, you're being used for a scam, they did
Yes.
say thank you for letting us know.
Yes. No, I had one from Donna Tart this morning.
Oh wow.
Spelled correctly. So T-A-R-double-T. Yes.
TARTT, yeah.
But it was Donna Tart. Was this the one? Yes, I think it was. Donna Tart Authors dot American at gmail.com.
Mm.
So, and then this one actually this afternoon. So this was 1 o'clock this afternoon. Hello, my name is Renee Jen, and that's another thing. They often have first name. This isn't Jennifer, but two first names. And I'm one of the moderators of the seasonal reading challenge, a Goodreads reading community with more than 9,000 members. And she's got her, and she's got this is in Texas, and it's got the Goodreads links. So I'm umming and ahhing about this because she then says, before I mention why I'm contacting you, I'd like to acknowledge something that several authors we've worked with have told us. Many authors receive multiple book club invitations each week, sometimes several in a single day. Unfortunately, some of those invitations involve participation fees, promotional charges, and other requests for payment. Some are legitimate opportunities while others are not, and we understand that can be difficult to tell the difference. Because of this, we never assume that an author who doesn't immediately respond is uninterested. In many cases, authors are simply being careful, and we completely respect that. Our community has a different approach. We never charge authors to participate in discussions, and we understand that trust had to be earned. For that reason, before we ever discuss an official reader event, we offer authors the opportunity to have a free introductory conversation with our moderation team and a few community members. So this is kind of, yes, we
A lot of
acknowledge,
detail there.
yes.
And
So
that makes it sound convincing.
it does, doesn't it? But it feels like there will be. And it says we never charge authors to participate in discussions. We offer authors the opportunity to have a free introductory conversation. The purpose of this introductory discussion is simple. It allows you to meet us, see how we operate, ask any questions you may have, and determine whether our community is a good fit for you. We also provide examples of previous author discussions and introductions, so you can see that our events are genuine and reader focused. Due to the amount of spam that circulates on Goodreads, we typically host these conversations through Slack, which provides a more organized and professional environment. The reason why I'm reaching out is that our readers have shown interest in your book. Now, as you can see, and you know anyway, I have a lot of books. They haven't mentioned which book their readers are interested in, so that's a red flag. And we'd love to explore the opportunity of a future discussion. However, before we even talk about an official event, we'd be happy to arrange a brief introductory conversation so you can get to know us first. If after that conversation you feel comfortable and interested, we can discuss a larger event with our readers. If not, there is absolutely no obligation. So there's clearly a fee because they haven't said everything. All of this is free, but she's actually surname first name 9 at gmail.com. But Goodreads, she's given a Goodreads link. She's given a Slack. And then the next one is someone who's noticed Self Pub Fest, came across your upcoming free event. I think it's a valuable opportunity for self-published authors, blah, blah, blah. I wanted to share a promotional idea that could help more authors discover it before the day arrives. A short cinematic event promo video. So that's a straight no, because I can do my own. And then no subject is another one, but it's hi Morgen. I was actually looking for my next read when I stumbled across your book. No mention of which one.
Mm.
And it genuinely stopped me. I work with Book Boost Agency. So this is Orla Expert and then 4-digit number at gmail.com. And one thing I kept thinking was how incredible this book would look as a cinematic video. Not the basic ones you see everywhere, but something that actually does your story justice. Anyway, I just felt like I had to reach out. If you're curious, just reply and I will show you what I mean. So that's it. Then the next one is Amazon Expert B.lover at gmail.com. Hi, I'm Daniel and I'm with BookBub. Really? I recently came across your book, again, no mention of what it is, and I thought it'd be a good fit for an upcoming reader event we're putting together. We help connect books with readers who are actively looking for recent titles to discover, and I'm happy to share a brief overview of the opportunity. Would you be interested in learning more? So that's a no. So this is what I send back. Hello, and I put it in quotes, so I know that they're not a real person. I'm getting inundated, several a day, often from 2 first name names with stock photos or whose made up names don't match their email addresses, by marketing experts, fake authors, fake publishers, not coming from domains such as Hachette, Penguin, Picador, Pan Macmillan and the likes, book clubs who don't put their website address for the recipient to check, and around the year in 52 books who never partner with anybody, BookBub, but not from the bookbub.com email address. So I'll highlight that for Daniel. Several from 1001 books you must read before you die, including 2 on the same day, who clearly don't speak to each other to know that I'm not interested, and others, many from wordsmith and writers and reviews, etc., with different numbers after the name, then a Gmail email address, offering to help with my books, website design, online courses, some just saying hi, hey, and other variants, addressing me as author, I have a name, authors plural, or to someone else, have said they've read my book, which I doubt as they don't say which title, and have made notes they'd like to share. If they were genuine, they'd share them without asking, or a very lazy round robin with no form of hello, where did their manners go? And then I list all the supposed top authors who I say have got more time on their hands than they know what to do with, so they're contacting people they've never heard of, to see how their writing's going. And I say writers have enough time without people lying to them. If you are who you say you are, then feel free to prove me wrong. If not, go and get an honest job. And then some have openly written to a proliferation of recipients, so everyone can see everyone else's email addresses. Against GDPR regulations here in the UK. And seriously, why would anybody do that? Some have emailed again an hour later to see whether I received their first email, have read it and are interested. Good grief. I only work with people who've been personally recommended to me, so please remove me from your mailing list. No reply required or wanted. And that usually sends them away. And then I block them. So I know if they come through blocked that I've dealt with them before.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they just
well,
go
another thing they sometimes do is that they make it look like they have read your book, by putting it through AI and getting a summary of what happens.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah, I mean, normally you can spot when AI has read your book rather than a human being.
Yeah. And quite a few of them, they reword the blurb. They
Mm,
say, "Oh, I love it when uh, Liam. Oh, I love it when Liam did this and that and the other, and it's all in the blurb. They've just AI'd the blurb and got a reworking of it, and they don't tell me anything that isn't in the Amazon blurb. Uh,
Right, so what shall we advise our author friends to do about this stuff? I think, first of all, there is always assume it's a scam. Um, and you go to some effort to make it clear to the scammers that you're onto them. I tend to go, I don't know, perhaps because of the way I am, I'm just scared of replying to them.
right,
Another thing that I used to do with all scam emails, I used to forward them to phishing.co.uk and
yes, I do with certain things. I had weirdly, I had I think the day before paid my car tax, renewed my car tax, and then had an email from the DVLA saying that they couldn't process the payment.
mm,
So for a second, I thought, well, that's really weird. And then I looked at it, and it was something like dvla dot or gov.dvla dot co.org, or there was some, it looked short enough to be legitimate, but everything was in the wrong order.
mm,
And so I forward that onto the government version. I have Gmail, so there is a report phishing. If it wants you to click on a link, these things, they just want to get somebody to say, "Oh yes, I'd love you to do my whatever, my marketing. Here's
mm.
£500," and then you never hear from them again. But I think share it online because and include the email addresses, um, because they've openly written to you, and share the whole thing, and say, is this legitimate? I mean, if you know it's not, then share the whole thing. If you're doubtful, then perhaps not share the email address. But
Mm.
if they are a business, then they should be writing from a business.
Yes,
And
yes.
yes, a lot of places don't have websites. A lot of companies don't have websites. There's a local cafe to us. There are four different cafes in the area, and they don't have a website. They have an Instagram and a Facebook.
Mm.
And for a while, that was the way things were going. The places didn't have websites. But gmail.com, and it's not necessarily that they are not legitimate if they have a Gmail or a Yahoo or whatever the others are. Um, but I think share it online with your friends on Facebook, and say, is this, or do a screenshot on Instagram and just say, is this legitimate? I belong to a author ad school for Brian Cohen, who does helps you with Amazon ads. I've grandfathered in years ago, and there was one today where I've been chosen. I've had an email from Paulo Coelho, who is he's I don't want to say American. I think he's South American. I think maybe Venezuelan, or anyway, South America, and writes beautiful books, very thought-provoking, deep books. And anyway, apparently he'd found time to write to this member of Brian Cohen's author ad school, and she'd obviously seen all that, she or he, I think it was a she, had obviously seen some of these scammed emails. Um, but I've got another one. Uh, yeah, if your dog could talk, would he something? Hello, Morgan Bailey. I hope you're well. Hope you're having a great week. My name is, and I'm executive manager at St Martin's Publishing Group. Okay, another one that would be for my Henry, because that's the dog.
Mhm.
So yes, many a day, because my email's everywhere. Um,
Well, this is again another problem. One of the bits of advice from the Society of Authors is to take your name off as many sites as possible. But
yeah.
then, you are told to reach out to your readers and be accessible.
Yes.
So what should we do? Uh, and engaging with genuine book reviewers. I mean, how
Oh,
do you do it when for every genuine person there might be 500 scammers?
yes. Well, yeah, I'm looking to do. I'm going to go back through all my books and revise them and improve them. And as you can, as time goes on, you learn new things. And
Mm.
how often would we like to go through everything we've just written and wrote 20 years ago to polish it? And then I'm going to arrange some blog tours. So then that's a legitimate, and you can go on Instagram and see who, just put in blog tour and get various authors, top authors, posters. And there are operators like Love Books, Rachel's Random Things, Zulu tours, and genuine ones. And all you do, because it's against Amazon's terms of service to pay for reviews. So what you're doing with a blog tour operator um, is paying them, and obviously make sure from the likes of Instagram that they are legitimate, or ask your friends, ask on Instagram, does anybody run blog tours? Who do you use? And then they know the bloggers. So all you're paying for is the blog tour operator's time, which is anywhere between 60 and £100, depending on how many spots, what do they call them? Stops per day for how long. So you might have one a day for 3 days, or you might want three a day for a week. And so you send them your ebook and cover and so on. And then they'll create the poster for you and book all these people in whenever date suits you. And then the people would have read the bloggers, and the bloggers do it because they get free books,
Mm.
and they've got an audience. So you might have, I don't know, 10,000 people who are waiting for the next book that so and so, as Karen loves reading, has read and recommended. And then in theory the bloggers should leave a review on Amazon. And at Amazon, you probably know that once you get to the 50 reviews, ideally good ones, that Amazon then sits up and they go, oh, well, actually, this must be a good book. It's hit the 50 reviews. It must be a decent book. And so then you get the reviews. So not only that, but of course, if you're doing your own social media posters, you can slot your book in and be using something like I do, like Canva, where you have various templates, and then you just drop your cover into it, and it pins it on the beach or whatever. And then you can quote. So I have at the back of this one, front of this one at the top, I have a little review from when that did a tour. And so, but again, it's so many people are offering to do this. But it's the usual thing. If you're sitting in your lounge and the doorbell rings, and someone you've never met before wants to sell you something, I don't know, an air fryer, and it's a bit like, I don't know if you remember, you used to go to auctions, where I think they stopped it in the end, where you go to auctions and you bid, or they say, I've got 100 air fryers, wouldn't be air fryers back in the day, I've got 100 toasters and they're £1 each. And they have stooges in the audience going, oh, yes, I want one and I want one. And then you end up paying £150 for this fantastic camera set with all the lenses. And they show you a Nikon or a Canon, but you're not allowed to open them there. You have to go out and then open them, and then find that you've got something that isn't what they're advertising. And so there was a whole industry. about that, and it is very much buyer beware.
Hmm.
If you're getting loads of these, just ask. It's like anything. If you want a cleaner, then you wouldn't just let anybody into your house. You'd ask your neighbours. You'd put on local Facebook groups. Can anybody recommend a cleaner? And if you've got three or four people who say the same thing and they look trustworthy, then that's the way to do it. But
Mm.
it is sad that, as I said in my reply, that we have a tough enough time just being a writer,
Yeah.
being known, and it's quite I'm not using the word depressing, but if you get 20 emails in a day where people are finding your book, they love your book, even if they don't mention what title it is, they love your book. How are they finding it and readers aren't finding it?
Well, there's the thing. It means that you're out there,
Yeah.
which is perhaps a good thing. I know one of my friends said in relation to my Spotify situation,
Mm,
she said, and why would they choose your book? Which I thought, yeah, I mean, ego bubble burst,
oh,
obviously, um, they don't always choose a best-selling author.
mm,
Um, who knows what these robots do when they have an algorithm running, looking for something that they might uh, use for their owners' purposes,
mm,
or their users' purposes.
mm.
Um, uh, but yeah, I mean, if you're out there, then the robot's going to pick you up quicker than any humans.
Yes, exactly. So what do we do? Do we ignore them? Because so many people have said to me, "Oh, just ignore them." Because if you reply, it's then telling the bot that they've been
That you exist.
successful.
Yeah. Mm.
And there was hearsay, I don't know whether it's true, where I'm sure it is, where people were selling lists of emails for various spurious purposes. So if you're a tick on a sheet because you've replied telling them to get lost, then that email is worth whatever it is.
Hmm.
I don't know what the minuscule
Yeah. I was even
rupee.
told if you forward an email to phishing.gov.uk,
Yeah,
um, that it will pick up the fact that you've done something with it, the robot
right.
at the other end, and so then you become a verified email address.
But how can they tell? How can they tell if you forwarded it to somebody else? Because all their email is then is
Have you,
just
have you ever had the message,
text.
this this email wants to acknowledge that you've opened? I've had some strange messages. You can override it
Right.
if you get that message.
Yeah.
But
Yes, there were options. I don't know if it's in Gmail, but I've got three spam messages. They're probably bots as well. Um, oh, yes, yes. I got one from Anne Tyler now.
hmm,
I don't know whether that's the Anne Tyler. Yes, here we go. Appreciation for short stories, short stories. I felt compelled to reach out to you as a fellow author. I'm always impressed by writers who can create engaging and memorable stories within a limited word count. Anne Tyler, Pulitzer Prize winning novelist, internationally best selling author, and she's annetyler.writer@gmail.com. Obviously isn't. Otherwise, it would be Anne Tyler. Well, it would be, I mean, she'd no authors go through their agents.
hmm.
So any agent, any author who has an agent, generally the agent will contact. Yeah, it's sad really that they're now using. I feel sorry for anybody, any top author who has worked their way up as we're doing, to now have their name taken in
Mm,
that respect, and spammers. Yeah, it's just I keep saying how lovely this industry is, and genuine people are lovely, and everybody wants to help everybody else, but there is this minority who want to make money out of it
mm.
at people's expense. The
Yeah,
unaware.
I mean, I don't think, however much we report individual cases,
Mm,
um, there can be any kind of control because it just seems to be so big and it's driven by AI. So,
yeah,
that is vast. It never sleeps.
no,
It can accelerate and decelerate and
mm,
change itself if it comes up against some kind of block.
mm,
Um, I do have a feeling that the technology industry itself should do more to try and block scammers.
mm,
I mean, we see these ethical hackers on BBC programs
yeah.
tracking them down to
I love those.
which
Yes,
office block they are in, which city
exactly.
in whatever part of the world.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes,
uh,
we watched the Scam Interceptors with Raj. I can't remember his
right,
surname.
yeah.
I think it's Raj, and he was on. I think he used to do Crime Watch, and he's now on Scam. And from the time of us watching early series to now, because they couldn't interrupt phone calls, they couldn't do this, they couldn't do that because the
Mm,
technology wasn't there. And now there was one the other day where they've got an elderly lady, and she'd given them the bank details, but the line wasn't very good. And so they were listening in, the BBC was listening into this conversation, but they couldn't, because the line was, she was being called on a landline, I think, and they
mm,
hadn't got a mobile number. And so they were waiting until she'd come off to say, don't do it, we've been listening to it. And the call centre said, we're having difficulty getting hold of you. And they'd said that there's a problem, that her account had been hacked, and that they were calling from her bank, and that she had to clarify, to confirm various details. And the line wasn't very good. He said, I'll ring you back in a minute, and then disconnected the call. So they were then able to tell her what was happening.
mm,
And she said, check your account, contact your bank now. Um, but then when the call centre called back, the BBC had got into their system. They'd accessed their system from the same system that the call centre had accessed this little old lady, and they were writing. You could see them typing, the BBC typing messages saying, "We know who you are," and listed some of and they could hear them audibly. Listed some of their names and how much they got paid. So they'd got into the payroll, how much they got paid to do this, and you could hear the office freaking out, and
mm,
somebody saying, "Turn everything off, turn everything off," and then eventually they just went.
mm.
Um, yeah,
Well, you see, if the BBC can do that, then I'm sure Google, Facebook,
exactly.
etc.
Yes.
can.
So
Um,
I should report, because there is an option. This one. Yeah, I think we were talking about having a notification that your email had been read. Because I don't know if Gmail does that, but I know Outlook used to back in the day, where you can tick a box where you get told that so and so has read your email. So I assume that's still, yeah. So I can block her or report phishing. So I'll probably just do that.
mhm.
Um,
Yes. Well, anyway,
yes.
so
So what do you think we
we're
can
not
do?
very well protected, are we, by
You know,
our IT suppliers, but they're all as bad as each other. So you can't say, oh, well, if you switch your email to so and so,
Yeah.
better.
I mean, I take quite fun in sending this really sarcastic email because it's so everybody else has been doing this. I'm not saying you're doing it, but I've got so many of these, and this is what they've done, and how
Mm.
crazy that they would do that. So a little, and it's a copy and paste. I don't have to. It takes a minute tops. But then it's still time that I don't really want to be doing this, so I should just ignore them. And then maybe if they come back, and I can see that I've blocked them already, then just keep reporting phishing because I'm
And
on Gmail and these are Gmail. So
do you block people who message you on Instagram? Because I mean, I couldn't bear to do TikTok. People said, "Oh yes, you've got to do book talk," but TikTok is just so kind of not my generation.
mm,
That as soon as I started to go on to try and set up a profile, it was just noise, inappropriate videos.
yes.
Uh,
Yeah, I think you
so
have to use the
Instagram, I did
hashtags.
try. I still haven't worked out really how it works. It doesn't seem as intuitive as Facebook to me,
Yeah,
but um, I do seem to get quite a lot of robots contacting
yeah.
me on Insta.
Yeah. Well, I do Instagram. I've done Instagram for a few years, not as much obviously as Facebook and the likes. But I joined TikTok a couple of years ago, and I literally joined it and did nothing for about a year. And then when we've got 74 now, but when we had 27 author spotlights, I put a Canva video, not me speaking or me on there. It was just a little video of them. Now got 27, and if you'd like it, a spotlight, then this is where to go to see them. And one thing, just going sideways slightly, I used to have a contact form on my website, and I pulled it because it was getting so much spam.
Mhm.
Because I think there's the code in it that tells people, and so I stopped that for an email address. So my email address is still on there, but it means it has cut down. Literally, just cancelled the contact form, changed it to an email address, and I get very little now via my, as far as I know, from my website. I don't know. Maybe some of these are. I'm not sure, but it did decrease. But I think the spammers and scammers in early days, because I have been through the dating mill over the years, were the people on dating sites. Tinder, I think, was the most prolific for widowed army majors and all of these. And so I joined TikTok a couple of years ago, didn't do anything for a few months, did this 27 for Spotlight video, which got quite a few views. I don't think it had any comments, but quite a few views and likes. And then probably about 6 months ago, I think it was October, I decided, so 9 months ago, I decided to, when I take the dog out in the morning, to record just on my phone, to record 5 minutes of me saying whatever was on my mind. I just started a healthy eating plan, which is very simple. When you go food shopping, just buy the food you need. Don't buy crisps and cakes and snacks and things. And I've lost about 2.5 stones, something like that since October. And just by not eating rubbish. And so I was putting some of these were quite personal, saying like this is what I'd like to do and this is why, and walking the dog and how's your day going and all this. And I did that. I was going to do it for a week. I did it for 4 days, and they were anywhere between 5 minutes and 10 minutes each. I then spent 2 hours the evening of day four, uh, blocking all these, sorry, Americans watching this, but usually American widowed army majors. So they've moved from the dating sites, probably on there as well still, to TikTok and go, you're so beautiful. I love the way you've done your hair and so I was going, open block confirm, open block confirm for 2 hours, getting them off. And I haven't been on there since.
Mm.
But I'm teaching up in Swanwick at Swanwick Writers' School in August. And I have promised that I would do a promo, which I promised about 3 weeks ago, to do a promo video to put on TikTok and then send the link in, which I will do. And I'm sure when I go back to my TikTok profile, that there will be lots of people I need to block because, but the thing is, if they leave a message once, if you don't put any more content on it, they'll have moved on to someone else.
Sure. Yeah. Mm.
Um, but, and as you say, I mean, TikTok, book talk, I think the more you, oh, that's all right, a genuine email, the more it's the old question of, do you concentrate on 2 or 3 platforms and do them well, or do you have a profile? So I'm on everything. I'm on Wattpad and all the old ones as well.
Mhm.
Um, and but I don't do anything with them. Pinterest and LinkedIn,
Oh,
I do nothing with those. And
yeah.
yet people say that LinkedIn is fantastic for the book community. But it's how much time have you got to do all of this?
Mm. Yeah.
Which is why I've got this social media scheduler to do it to legally and genuinely do it all for me. Uh,
Mm.
because that's the trouble these days. We've now become so skeptical that everything is a scam. I ended up going on Trustpilot for one thing yesterday, and then if there aren't enough reviews, then it's a bit like buying a book. If there are only half a dozen really good reviews, that could be your mother, not in my case, but mother, father, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, grandparent have all said this book is wonderful. But you
Mm.
wait, don't you, until there are
Well,
50
these
reviews.
lucky people who have got such supportive family and
Really,
friends.
yes, yes. My mum did read one of mine. She's gone now, but my mum did read the shopping as it was, the shopping when it was traditionally published. The shopping notice this right. The serial data shopping list. She read it, and she said at the end, and it's about a journalist set in around Northampton. So she knew
I know,
Northampton enough because I
do
did.
it well.
Thank you. Yes, you lovely review for it. And so she has to set up an online dating profile. So I don't get too technical, because she never had a computer, never had a mobile phone. And she said, "Oh yeah." She offered to read it for me, uh, just to be supportive. And she said, "I read it, I enjoyed it, but I didn't really understand it." So I always had to be fairly selective with what I
Yes.
shared with her. Um, and uh, and
But
so,
as
but
long as
then,
you put 5 stars.
well, she doesn't have a computer or a mobile phone, so she wasn't on Amazon. I used to have to order everything for her.
Mm.
Um, but yes, I think we wait and see, and we do our due diligence. That check these people out. That these companies who say you can now, no subscription, it's $27 to buy this for life. What are you getting for the $27? Will they then close in the next month with all these people little pockets of $27, and take down their website? Because I've been caught stupidly 4 o'clock in the morning buying a dress, and I should have known better, from a Facebook advert because it looked lovely. And we've got 2 family weddings this year. And the website doesn't exist anymore. I spent another £20 sending it back to China. Should have known better. And
Mm.
that was in their terms and conditions. If you change your mind, it's got to go back to China. And then I've literally a couple of days ago, it's stuck in customs for about 2 months, by which time they've websites closed, and then I've got it back, so that's gone to the charity shop. So yeah, we live and learn. We make our
Yes,
mistakes.
yeah, we are human, and
We are.
you know, scams are sometimes so plausible, and as was featured on the Radio 4 program,
Mm.
you know, we can say that you should always be cynical. But with these competing bits of advice we get as authors about, engage, and you're going to have to be talking to strangers because they could have
Yeah.
picked your book up from anywhere.
Mm,
Um, versus people who just want to exploit you. Um, I think well, it just makes an author's life more difficult than it
it
should be.
does. It
But
does.
the upshot of this, I'm sure, is that um, a lot of authors will not engage with marketing. I certainly have changed my ideas about what I'm willing to do and not do.
Yeah.
And basically just Amazon ads because you can have control and you can, um, you do get good feedback.
Yeah.
Um, but people often to do reviews and, stuff that you really want, but can't, trust.
No, it's
Anyway,
sad.
we've,
It's
we've
sad
probably
because
done
it's,
this topic to death now.
well, I think so. But I think it's we love what we do. The industry is wonderful. It's just it's like it's you see, we watch Tim and I watch Police Interceptors, and
Mhm.
you know that if there's a town with 100,000 people in it, that 99,000 people, is that right? 99,000, 100,000, yeah, 99,900 people are lovely, are great, are law abiding, but there's those 100 people who are anywhere between misled or up to downright, and they're the ones that tend to be chased and
Mm.
caught, or not caught.
It's
And
remarkable if
so,
you talk to police officers how many um, crimes are committed by known individuals.
yes,
They can hazard a good guess. Oh,
exactly.
this is the hallmarks of so and so.
Yeah.
Mm,
So I think we just have to be wary.
mm,
Um, it's the old if it's too good to be true, then it
mhm.
probably isn't. Nothing. You never get a free lunch, and so yes, just be wary. Do due diligence and share. Ask people, do you think this is legitimate? And most of it probably, sadly, most of it isn't.
Mm.
Okay. So how,
Okay.
so how will you go? Is there anything you're going to do differently? Just be more careful.
Yes, I think ultimately be scared of everything.
Oh, it's a shame. Hopefully, this somewhen, it will turn a corner. And if they're not getting anywhere, they'll move on to something
Mhm.
else. But I think these days with AI, I've seen adverts where AI can write a book for you in 15 minutes. You tell it the components and it will write the book in 15 minutes. And
Now,
other
here's a great scenario for a book. An AI bot trying to scam an AI
AI
author.
bot. There we go. Well, I don't write fantasy or sci-fi, so that's you. I'll leave that one to you. But yes, I think if we're all getting wiser, then they'll be wasting their time. And sadly, it just has to waste our time in the meantime. There we go. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you, Morgan, for having me on your
Oh, always,
podcast.
always welcome.
Yes, I look forward to the next one. I think there's
Yeah,
a short story and poetry session coming up soon.
there is. There's one in a couple of days, but I think there's something you said the 8th of July. Oh, for Wednesday, the Wednesday critique,
Ah,
perhaps.
right. Yes,
Perhaps.
yes.
But
I
yes,
I
whenever.
accepted that one. I can't do the eighth anymore. So
Okay, that's all right. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, whenever suits you. That's once I've got to grips with this social media scheduling, then it will go out and about more often. People
mhm.
will see it. Um, more than they have done so far because I haven't been advertising it much. So yes, it's the ball is gradually rolling. I think hopefully by Christmas it will be really up and running with lots of people watching and lots of YouTube views and comments and lovely. Thank you, Beth.
Thank
Always a
you.
pleasure.
I'll let you get on with your evening.
Okay, and you in this sweltering heat.
Bye
And
for
I
now.
spent the whole of this session because I'm looking in the camera rather than at the screen. I spent the whole session with a white tattoo. Not a lot I can do about it with a blind. All right. See
Bye.
you. Enjoy. Thanks, Beth. Bye.